Hello, today I'm going to be talking about the CA6 and the valve module. Now remember, everything here is still pre-release, so nothing is finalized. I don't have cases made for the valve module and stuff, so this is just to give you guys an idea, an early look on how it's all going to fit together. So here's the camera. It's got a cord running over to the CA6, which is right here, and that's right there, and then they have flash is plugged into port number 2, and the other 6 ports are not plugged into anything. And then we've got the valve module here, and it's going into that bowl of liquid. It's just water with a little bit of guar gum to thicken it added. Nothing fancy. A lot of times you'd use more than one flash, but for testing I'm just using a single one. And over here you have the valve module circuit board, and that'll be in a case, but right now it's just got one valve plugged into it. You can plug in up to 4. And then let's go over to the software. So there's just a few things you need to set up. First one is the camera flash settings. So for port number 1, the camera's plugged into it, and I'm picking the camera pre-focus smart. You need to make sure it's one of the camera options. This is probably the best one for the valve sensor. So what that's going to do is that's going to pre-focus to reduce the shutter lag, but then it's going to turn off the pre-focus at the end so that you can see image previews on your camera, which is really nice for this kind of photography. Then there's the delay. So I don't need any delay because that's going to be handled specially in the valve module. There's the duration. So I set that to 100 milliseconds, and that's you can change that. I've set that to 100 milliseconds because that's about enough time for my shutter to activate, and I know my shutter lag, so I can set that pretty low. Normally have that set a little higher, but by setting it low like this, I'm able to take photos in a light room without turning off the lights, which is really useful for this video. Post trigger delay, so that's set to 4 seconds, like you can see right there. And that's basically lets you do the pre-focus smart option. So it's going to give 4 seconds where it's going to display the image on your camera before it takes the next shot, or allows the next shot. And that's pretty much all the camera settings. And then over in the actual valve menu, which is the only other place you have to change things, you've got lots of settings. So camera shutter lag is how much shutter lag. This has to be your actual shutter lag or higher. So mine's about, I think, 80 milliseconds, and I have it set to 100 milliseconds just to be a little safe. Shutter delay or flash delay basically is how late after everything starts that you want to take the photo. So I have it set to 380 milliseconds, which is, well, that you'll see that can be changed a lot. Then you've got your drop delay. So for valve 1, you've got a drop delay for drop 1, and then a drop 1 size, and then a drop 2 delay, drop 2 size, drop 3 delay, drop 3 size. So you've got those 6 options for 4 valves. That's why there's so many different configurations here. But let's just focus on the first valve because all the other valves are going to work the same. So it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got a delay and then your drop size. So both of those numbers are going to be in milliseconds. So size is how long the valve is open. So the bigger that number, the bigger the size of the droplet. And delay is just how long between droplets you want the drops to be. Now this is all independent of the camera shutter lag and the camera or the flash delay. So this is a lot to take in, but you kind of get a feel for it after a while. And then if you go into photo mode, there's more options. So make a drop is the one that actually triggers everything. So we've got make a drop, and if we hit that, It actually takes the photos just like that. And then you've got your flash delay. And if you increase that, it's basically going to, this was on the previous menu, as was this valve 1 drop 2 delay. The reason I put these on here is because these are nice options here to kind of make it quicker to actually take the photos. And you could switch back. I mean, any changes you make here will propagate here. So like here, we've got the current flash delay of 380. Now if I increase that, it's going to go by 5 each time I press it. So if I press it a couple of times, and then I go back to the valve menu, it should say 390 when I go back, and yep, sure enough, there it's 390. So those settings are tied together. But let's see. And then we've got the delay of drop 2, and that's basically the collision drop. So this is kind of set up to help you take photos with valve 1 using 2 drops, where the second one's going to collide with the first one, and these values will sort of help you do that. But there's also this other mode that I wanted to show you. So now I'm going to show you how to actually take the droplet photos. So you could control all these settings, or you could hit this auto button. I'll do that. So what that's going to do is it's going to start a series of shots and slightly increase the time frame for each one. So you can see that the current flash delay is constantly increasing by 10. And then it says press auto when the max splash height is there. So I'm going to press that auto button when I see a nice splash basically in my camera, which is kind of hard to see on this screen, but I can see it much better in real life. I can see a splash is kind of forming now. Once it reaches a nice height, I'm going to press this auto button again. So that's a pretty good one. Let me wait one more frame. Okay, so I press the auto button again, and it's kind of hard to push with my thumb. This is, I think, what the problem is. I don't have enough capacitance. But anyways, now it says press auto once there's a nice collision. So if I go back here, I just keep sort of seeing the same thing. Oh, here comes a drop into the frame. That's what I'm waiting for. So now I'm going to have these drops hit that pillar of water, and I get a nice splash there. So now I hit the auto button, and whoops. So now I've kind of got these settings. So what it's arrived at was it was constantly increasing the current flash delay until it got to 390, and it was decreasing the flash or the valve 1 drop 2 delay until it got down to 90. And so these are some settings that should get a drop. So now I can hit this button and I can recreate that droplet. And if you look at this, I'll include some yeah. So that's an okay droplet, but what actually happened is because I was using my thumb and I can't seem to touch the buttons very well with my thumb, I missed it by 1. So what happened was the valve 1 drop 2 delay actually kept decreasing. It decreased 1 extra time, so these buttons increase it by 5. So I'm going to increase it by 10 to get back, and now I'm going to try a make drop. And yeah, there we've got a really nice collision. So you get the idea of it, and I'll include a few photos from this session. Thanks for watching.